Okay, now you should be hearing me. Okay, perfect, awesome. I think we're good. My hold on. If there's a way to, I don't think I have any light that I can use right now. I need to eventually consider one of those lights you put around the camera. Hopefully that will help out not only in the video making department, but also when I stream, because the fan light that we have is not good. Okay, so I need better lighting in this room, but that's a story for another day, obviously. So, I made some changes right now, as you can see on. Well, hold on. I think right here. There's like this weird box. I can't make the thing, so it's not gonna work. But essentially, I changed the way the chat is so that hopefully it looks better. That the text is larger for you all. Okay. I tried to do some testing earlier, and I hope it looks good for you guys when you eventually, start typing away and stuff like that. My background music? Okay, so the background music is going. I hope it's not too loud for you all. I was looking for some nice, sweet piano music. I hope it's working properly. Because I like me some piano music, right? I love piano music, and we're trying to be romantic out here. So this is a stream that I had talked about. I think, when was it? I was doing one of the Pokemon Emerald live streams a while ago, right? And I had been talking about making this stream in particular, and things just kept happening. And then I ended up finding out that I actually didn't move my Viewer Friday stuff from my old computer into this one. Well, okay. Technically speaking, I did move some of it, but I didn't actually put it in this machine, right? Apparently, when I moved it into my Dropbox, so that's how I was doing a lot of my migrations, because there's no way for me to actually move everything I have on that computer over here without doing some like cloud storage shit. So it was in there in a mess, right? It wasn't where I expected it to be. So then I had to like download everything onto this machine so I can actually fucking use it. And then I had to make the intro for the Viewer Friday. That's one of the reasons why it was a little issue. Because I always like to have like an actual intro that's different depending on what the stream or what the Viewer Friday request is about, right? So each Viewer Friday has a different intro because I have to add an image in the little box, right? Like if I go back to the previous scenes where I show you the intro, you'll see it. There's the actual like thumbnail picture, right? And then there's a box that I fill in with whatever the topic that we're discussing is, right? And then from there, I make the intro, and then I have to like render it and then put it here in my streaming software so that you guys can actually see an intro for this type of video, or well, for this type of content for you, right? Now, not all of your Fridays are streams, okay? Most of them are technically speaking videos that I make for you all. However, because when I initially planned all this out, it was when across the time, well, like I was gonna make it on my actual like old laptop. Well, it's not. Well, no, it is my old laptop because you're fucking old as fuck. This thing is old as hell. Okay, I've had it for years, right? So initially I was gonna make it a video there, but then everything happened, right? And I wasn't able to make videos on their machine anymore. So then my thought was, okay, I can just make it a stream, right? And I wasn't gonna have like I was gonna make the thumbnail, like the intro, in that machine as fast as I possibly could, and then transfer it over to this one, and then I could just do it like that. Which is what I did for a previous stream I had done. That was also a Viewer Friday, which was like a tier list video. But that one made sense to make it a stream because it's a lot easier to do like a stream where I'm like tiering shit, right? But for the most part, Viewer Fridays tend to be videos. But because that happened, I decided to just make it a stream so it's easier because I couldn't edit it in my old computer because of everything that happened, right? But then things got so delayed that I actually was able to migrate all my like video editing and stuff on this machine, which it's surprisingly working fine, knock on wood, that it keeps that way. But I need to find a way to upgrade the software because it's so old, right, at this point, and there is a way for me to upgrade it. But I apparently waited too long, and like there was a if I had done this before, there was never an idea for me to actually migrate my video editing software from that machine into the streaming computer, because my whole thought process was, oh, when I eventually get an actual new computer that I can use just for my YouTube stuff, right? I can then migrate over all that stuff over to this one, into that new computer. But obviously, I had to scramble. Anyways, this stream is completely going off topic from what it was originally about. But I need to give you guys some history into why this stream is happening, right? So I think it was like a little over 2 months ago, I think. I can't remember where it was. My favorite YouTuber, right? Favorite content creator, period, right? Who I've been following for shit like, it has to be like 13 years at this point. I don't know how long I've been watching him, honestly. I'm trying to think back. It's 2011, I think, or 2010, 2011. I don't exactly remember when, right? And I've been following for each channel he created. So like, I watched him on his original channel, and then I followed him on his new channel that he created. Actually, no, hold on. How was it? No, I initially found him on his secondary channel, I think. Or was it? I don't remember how I found the band, okay? All I know is that I've been watching him for years, right? I've watched every video that he posts. I haven't been able to catch a lot of his streams, though, because usually when he does them, I'm already busy with personal stuff, right? But I do support him as best as I can every time I can, right? And at least I watch the playbacks when he does them. Outside of that, right? So it was a particular stream that he was doing, and for the life of me, I don't remember what it was about, right? It was a while ago, right? That's why my memory is not as good as it used to be. But near the end of that stream, where he was talking, where he had requested of me to make a video about soulmates and how you find your soulmate and all that stuff, because throughout, like, us, like, knowing each other, well, I shouldn't say that, because we don't really actually we don't actually personally know each other, right? I mean, I am, like, on his Discord, I'm one of his mods and stuff like that, but we're not, like, friends or anything, right? It would be nice, right? But I shouldn't say that, right? He's a cool dude, but we don't make content together, right? But we do chat a lot every time we're in the streams and stuff. Where is my chat? There it is. I had moved it for something else. So at the end of the stream, he had requested of me I guess, how do I call it? The content, I guess. This topic, that's the word, okay? Listen, I'm gonna get to this, okay? I'm trying. It's late, okay? I was hoping to have this stream up earlier, but stuff happened, okay? And like, I was even late because I had to upload a Horizons episode review today so that I can catch up, right? And I was supposed to do it yesterday, right? I was supposed to record yesterday, but work killed me yesterday, which sucked because I was doing really good consistency and I wasn't gonna drop it. Okay, I said I was gonna do daily uploads of Horizons into the world, right? Hey Blob, there's my wife right there. I hope the chat looks better now. I hope you're able to see it better. So because that happened, I had to watch the episode today after a lot of stuff happened, and I ended up watching it late. And I was like, crap, I gotta scramble to make the review, to upload it so that I can stream, right? So it took me, but I did it. Okay, that's the point. I did it, but the point is that it got late. So now the stream is late. But we're gonna do it anyways. Okay, we're gonna do it anyways, and I hope that, because I did tag him in the title, but honestly, it's whether he wants to watch it. I hope you enjoy it. The Insane Game Freak, right? My boy, my favorite YouTuber. and I hope it does you good. And I'm sorry for the rambling. Okay, so let's get to the meat and potatoes of what this topic is about, right? So the reason why he asked of this is because he knows, and you guys who watch my content know, I'm married, right? And a little over a month now. Well, a month and 6 days. Okay, I have it jotted down perfectly. In a month and 6 days, I'll be celebrating our 3rd-year marriage anniversary. Okay, and we've been together for going on to 7 years at this point. So we've been together a really long time. Oh, I almost stumbled my words. My tongue twisted into itself. So we've been together for a really long time, and he's been one of the supportive ones. Like, he knows about all this, right? And we've joked about it in the past and stuff like that, because I don't remember when, but he had made was it a video? I know he made a stream with one of his friends to talk about like dating and stuff like that. But I know he made a video about it once before. Like I said, I've watched so many of his videos that at this point it's too many. But I know he has tackled this topic before on his channel, right? And he's also done it in a stream with one of his friends where they've talked about the concept of dating and all that stuff, right? But I guess the reason why he did this or requested this, and I'm not trying to like try to read your mind or whatever, but it's because of the fact that even his friend, I don't think he's married, right? I don't recall if he mentioned it in his stream, but I'm pretty sure the guy's not married, and he has dated. He's dated a couple people according to that stream, right? And what he was talking about. But I don't think he's gotten to the point where he's gotten married, right? And this stream was forever ago. Okay, I remember that one. That was like at least 2 years ago, right? So I'm assuming he wants another perspective from somebody who he knows, right, by his YouTube screen. Obviously, we don't know each other's names, like personal names, right? But that he knows is married, and he has watched my content before, right? I've never talked about this in the past. I do have shorts, right, that I've created to like they're romance and relationship themed. I'm hoping to do more of those in the future eventually. I don't know how I'm gonna handle shorts, to be honest. Okay, I have one series that I'm planning on doing as soon as I'm caught up and everything is back to normal, right? But for the most part, I don't know exactly what kind of short content I'm gonna make, but I'll figure it out. Okay, you guys can help me with your ideas and stuff. But the point is, right? I'm making the assumption that he asked this because he knows me as a fan of his, and he knows I'm married. He's seen the success of it. I've talked about it before, so he wants to hear my perspective and hopefully give some guidance or something like that, right? Because I know he's in the market, right? My boy's in the market. I'm rooting for him to find somebody who he can share his life with, because he's like me in the sense that what he's looking for is long-term commitment, right? His end goal is marriage, right? Which is cool, right? I like that concept because that's the way I used to be, right? Before I found my wife, right? Obviously, now I'm done. I'm settled. I don't need to look for anything else, because my end goal was always finding somebody that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with, right? And I did, right? So to start the actual topic, how do you find your soulmate? Okay, and this is a complicated topic because it's different for everybody. Not everybody knows exactly what they're looking for, right? That's number one. And number two, not many people are actually ready to make not only the commitment, but also the sacrifice that comes with finding your partner, right? The thing is, when I found my wife, right? When I initially found my wife, right? I was the typical, like, loner guy, right? Ever since I was young. Okay. Before I met my wife, I had only had, if you want to call it that, one prior relationship, right? And I don't tend to count it really much anymore. I used to when I was younger, right? Because it was one of those like children things where you're with somebody, right? And they're your girlfriend or your boyfriend, but you're too young to even understand the concept of that, right? So we don't count that. But I have had many like I don't want to call it relationships. It's not. I never really dated, but I had friends of, my preferred gender, right? If we're gonna go by today's like landscape, my preferred gender, which is women, right? Cis women, what women that are born female, right? That's my preference. So straight guy, yay, but I'm not white. You can't throw me at that because I'm Latino. And I say it like that because fuck Latinx. Okay, that's a stupid word. But anyways, so I used to do, and this might have been like just me being weird. When I was younger, I really liked the field of psychology, right? And honestly, if I didn't get into the field I am now, which is like computer programming and shit like that, I probably would have gotten into the field of psychology because I like the brain. I like studying the brain and how people think and stuff like that. So what I used to do when I was younger, and when I say when I was younger, like early years of high school, for the most part, I like to learn and like interact with a lot of people, and in a way, study the human interactions. Right? I used to talk to anybody that would give me the opportunity. So I wasn't necessarily friends with everybody in my class, right? I know that U.S. schools are like whack and crazy and like huge, depending on the school. Excuse me, depending on the state and the school district, like you can have classes that are like really small with like 20 kids, and you can also have like classes that have like 600 students or whatever the fuck. My class was in like the middle range where we had like close to 400 students in my entire grade, which fluctuated depending on the year, right? So, but I tried to interact with as many people as I could. So my freshman year, I was not only acquaintanced myself with as many of the people in my grade, right? But I also talked to people that were in the olders, like the sophomores, the juniors, a couple seniors, not as many seniors because obviously that's like two worlds apart, right? But I got to understand how people interact in the wild, right? Which might make me sound like a psychopath, okay? Because I'm over here studying like my fellow students, right? But realistically speaking, that's because of the fact that I was so introverted and reserved to myself, right? I had my whole small group of friends who were like 5 or 6 people, and we would talk at like lunchtime and shit like that. But I would still like to interact with more people, right? So that gave me a different perspective than most of the other people in my class, because high school is usually when people are like trading like partners and stuff, right? That's when people are like their hormones all over the place, right? And they're trying to get with somebody. A lot of people's first sexual experiences happen in high school, right? While all that is happening, I'm over here, like, yes, I would have liked to have a girlfriend, right? At that point, like, there was somebody I was interested in, at that time, right? It never went anywhere, right? I did try, right? Don't get me wrong, I did try, but good thing it didn't go anywhere because things took a bad turn. I think it was senior year when it happened. But anyways, my point is, most of my high school time was just learning about how other people think, right? How wide and how to put it, how wide and different perspectives that exist in the world, which is why I'm able to like talk to anybody, right? I think that's one of the, while I still am introverted, don't get me wrong, like I don't like to talk to people unless I have to, but the thing is, like, I'm willing to talk to anybody. I don't have a problem talking to anybody about anything, right? Even if I'm not familiar with a topic, I still like to interact, right? So it's one of those things where I don't know what the correct term is, like an extroverted introvert, I guess. My wife tells me this all the time, where like I'm so reserved, yet when we're out like public functions and stuff like that for some of the things I'm involved in, I talk to everybody, right? Or as many people as possible, right? I'm always talking to somebody. I'm always saying hello, right? There's always dialogues being exchanged, right? Which also drains my social battery. So it does happen, right? Afterwards, I just need to be there chilling with my wife, cuddling, and being good, right? That she is my battery, to be honest, right? If it wasn't for her, I'd probably be drained most of the time when we go to these things. But that's my formative years, right? That's all I did was just learn people, and try to understand everything that I can about another person's perspective, right? Did it help me get somebody? No, right? But it did, I guess, set me up for success in the future if I ever tried again, right? Because by the time I finished high school, I had, at that point, I wasn't with anybody. I didn't date anyone in high school, right? So I went to college, and this is also the time where now you're an adult, right? Now you can do all sorts of adult things, right? You can do whatever the fuck you want without anybody telling you anything. I was not interested in dating at all during my college years, okay? This is another thing, okay? But this time it was for a different reason, right? Because of the fact that by the time I went to college, I had moved back to my home country, right? I finished high school in the U.S., right? Because I was living with my mother. I moved back to my home country with my dad for my college, right? My college years. And for the most part, I was just trying to succeed, right? Because I wanted to be able to have a future that I was happy with in terms of my own personal growth, right? And also, I was more, how do I say it? Because of I don't want to say because of what happened in my senior year, but because of the transition, I guess is what it was. Because most of my young, I don't want to say young adult, because technically that's when you're like in your 20s. My young teenage life, right? Ever since I was, like I guess middle school, I had grown up with a specific set of people the whole time, right? And all through high school. And now I'm back in my home country. I don't know anybody, right? So it's one of those things where I have to like reset my own reset the way I view everything, because everything that I learned was from people in the U.S., right? Now I'm back in my own home country, Puerto Rico, beautiful tropical paradise. You know, that's what I always call it, right? I have to learn everything again, because over here, completely different, culture, right? I mean, obviously, I still like came every once in a while, right? When we were doing like holidays and like summers and shit like that, when we would visit our dad. My sister and I would visit our dad. But it's still like a completely different like way of seeing things, right? And I don't know anybody, so I have to like readjust myself. And I talked to a lot of people. I went to 2 different colleges. One of them because I was supposed to. Well, that's a story for another time. I eventually had to move into a different college, right? Because we had some issues in the first one. Well, it's not the first one, another one, right? Like I said, story for a different time. If you guys want to hear it, let me know. We can do just a fun vlog stream talking about my college years and shit like that, right? Not that anybody fucking cares about that, but most of my time was learning everything about over here and everybody that I would meet. That was like another thing in my brain of like, hey, this is how people act, right? This is what people think. This is how people will do everything. I made a lot of friends, right? But most of it was just focusing on my studies, right? I really wanted everything to go good because what I wanted was to have a good future for myself, so that eventually, if I went ahead and tried to find somebody again, I would be more prepared in general, right? In my day-to-day life and stuff like that, right? So again, this is also something completely different, because I know in college people date all over the place, right? But I didn't do that, right? So I didn't do that. I was focusing on my studies and also trying to assimilate myself to technically my culture, right? Because I'm from here, right? But because I moved when I was, a young lad, right? I had to experience everything again from scratch, right? But again, I'm still studying communications between people and trying to learn how people operate, how people work, how people think, right? Again, call me a psychopath if you want, but it might just be my. I don't even know if there's like a diagnosis for that type of stuff. But anyways, now again, all this time I'm living with my dad, right? Which is a benefit, right? I didn't have to pay for housing or nothing like that. I was living with my dad. The college was like 10 minutes away from our house. Was it 10? Let's give it like 10 to 15, depending on the traffic and stuff like that. So it was close, right? And then it was time to enter the workforce. And once again, I think this is one of those things where it's about making sure you better yourself and you feel like you're ready to be in a relationship, right? That's one of the things you should do. You should always work on yourself first if you're looking for a soulmate, right? You should always be prepared mentally for yourself and that you have what you want going, because the problem is that if you try to be with somebody while you're still working on yourself, most of the time it's going to be difficult, right? Most of the time it's going to be difficult because you don't know yourself, right? You're still learning yourself, right? So I went into the workforce, and by the time I met my wife, right, the first time, or when I finally went into the space, it was after, what was it? Yeah, it was after we got hit by a major hurricane, right? And so everything was like starting from scratch. So I was like, okay, everything is back to normal. And we went through something traumatic, right? I had been working at that point for 2 years, right? I felt like I was in a steady place. I still live with my father, which is not a bad thing, right? It also helps because at that point I wasn't paying for rent for anything, but I was still building myself, right? So I will say it's gonna be a little bit different nowadays. Exactly. See, my wife again. She is my light. She's also my muse, right? What she says is correct. If you work on yourself, you can create your own boundaries on what you expect in a relationship, right? And you're also able to signal yourself what you like and don't like, or what's a cutoff point for you if something happens, right? What do you think is like? How do I say it? What is your limit? What do you think you can't? Like, if something happens, if one particular thing happens, do you think you can move past it, right? You need to find that self in your own way, right? So thank you again, Blob, my wife in the chat. She had really helped me here. We're always thinking together. So again, it's gonna be different nowadays because now everything is gamified and shit like that. But I did join, 3 different dating sites at the same time, right? Because I was trying to expand my reach to a way, and again, it also helps because you're able to see more things, right? You're able to interact more, right? So here's what happened. I joined, like I said, 3 different dating sites. I'm not going to talk about their names because I'm not doing no free advertisement here, okay? But I did pay for 2 of them. One of them I did not. Now, and I paid for them after some time, right? It wasn't immediate. But I went into all 3 dating sites. Some people, some of the women were on multiple of them, right? I would see their profile on one of them and I would see them again in another one. But you don't go for anybody. That's one of the problems that I don't like about nowadays. People on these fucking dating sites is like, oh, swipe. No, you need to. Again, this is one of the things that helps if you know yourself, right? If you have taken the time to learn about yourself and what you want in a relationship, right? You're not going to be swiping left and right to anything because you're going to be actually paying attention to what you're doing, right? So what I would do, right, and it took me a while before I found my wife, right? But I'll actually like read information on all the profiles that would show up. Now, when I initially set up most of my accounts, right? Well, I should say 2 of them because the other one I don't know if it had that setting. But at least in the 2 that I ended up paying for, they have a way to where you can like put your settings for what you're looking for. So for the most part, I was looking for age ranges. Age ranges. Jesus Christ. Because I was trying to keep it to where they're close enough in age to where I wouldn't feel weird about it initially, right? And also like matching my parents. My mom is 2 years older than was 2 years older than my dad. Rest in peace, Dad. So I was keeping it like, okay, I can look for somebody that's 2 years older than me or somebody that's 2 years younger than me, and I'm in the middle, right? I want to have that range. So I had a range of like 5 years, right? Because it's my age, 2 less and 2 more, right? So when I was doing it at that point, I was 24? Yeah, I was 24 years old, right? So then I was looking for people that were between 22 and 26 years old, right? So I was able to plug that in to both of those profiles. I don't remember the other one because, like I said, that one was like the least that I used because it wasn't really that good. Except for the fact that I would notice a profile in that one and then I would see it in one of the other 2, right? But I would actually look into the profiles. I would try to learn about them because if somebody's actually looking for somebody, right? If somebody's actually looking for an actual long-term relationship, they're going to talk as much about themselves because they want to find somebody with similar interests to them, right? So if I see a profile and the first thing I see on your profile is follow me on Snapchat or check my Instagram, those immediately go in the trash pile because most of the time when people do that, it's either a fake account or they're just looking for, money, or they're just looking for like a quick hookup. Like I said, my whole goal in life was to find somebody that I could spend the rest of my life with. I want a long-term relationship, which means I'm not going to waste my time with just some random person who wants me to look at their Instagram pictures. No. So like I said, if they didn't have an actual bio talking about themselves and helping you learn about them, immediately to the trash, right? And then I would look at other things. Like if a profile, I saw some like an actual bio with some information, I would read it all the way through, and if they sounded interesting, then I would consider talking to them. If they didn't, then I would put it aside, right? Because like I said, if you have your boundaries set, like my wife said, right? If you have your boundaries set, you know what you're looking for, then you're not gonna waste time with somebody that in your mind initially you don't feel like they're gonna vibe. Even if you think they look attractive, right? That's one of the other things. A lot of dating sites nowadays, they just show you all these pictures and expect you to just go with whatever, have your time, and then move on, right? And then, come back to the side and look for somebody else, right? That's not what we're looking for here. We're looking for your soulmate, somebody that you want to spend your life with, a partner for life, right? And marriage, if that's what you're looking for. If you just want a long-term relationship, and you're not looking for marriage, but you still want somebody to spend your life with, that also applies here, okay? So here's what ends up happening, right? I'm looking, and it was a couple months, right? And that was the other thing, right? Like I said, I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't sound interested. I only tended to wrote to 2 people. One of them didn't go anywhere, and then my wife, right? So out of the hundreds of profiles that showed up on my thing, I didn't interact with anybody except like I said, one person that I sent the message to, but like I said, it didn't go anywhere, so that one died. And it was only like, again, see if I saw some things in their bio that were interesting and I wanted to learn about it more, but then like I said, it died. Nothing happened because they never responded back, right? I think that's what it was. They never responded back, which is a good thing, right? Because what ended up happening is that after that happened, right? The site, like I said, one of the sites that I was paying for had this thing where even though you have your set preferences in terms of like age ranges, right? Sometimes they'll be like, hey, we found somebody that might match your interests that's just slightly out of your range, right? Out of the range that you were looking for, right? And I was like, most of the time when I would see them, nothing interesting was there. But one day, after what happened with the other profile, I see the profile, right? I open it up, very detailed bio. I read it all the way through. There was a lot of interesting things about the person there, right? They talked a lot about their interests, what they were doing, right? Where they are in life and stuff like that. And again, remember what I said about my ranges. My ranges were 22 to 26. This person was 21, so not extremely. Actually, no. She was 20. She was 20 years old, because I'm 4 years older than her, right? She was 20 years old, or had just she had just turned 21. I think that's what it was. She had just turned 21, because I'm 4 years older than her by years, but because her birthday comes before mine, there is a time frame between that. I'm actually 3 years older than her. Well, the ages themselves, I'm 3 above hers, right? But realistically, we are 4 years apart. Or 3.5 if you want to be technical about it. So she had just turned 21 recently, right? And like I said, a very detailed bio, talking a lot about themselves, a lot of their interests, and I was intrigued, right? I was intrigued, like I said, outside my range that I had set for myself. But a lot of the stuff that was in the profile was interesting to me, and I also saw a talking point. Okay, now my wife, for you guys to know, is a gamer, and she plays games that I don't touch. And I'm not just talking about like those gamer girls, right, that only play like a specific set of games. No, my wife has experience with a bunch of stuff that I would have never bothered with before. Like, but I've enjoyed watching her play them, right? When we have PlayStations, she goes off and shows me all the cool stuff that she's done, right? And I still remember she did a whole Mass Effect campaign in front of me, right? Because she wanted me to experience this franchise that she really, really likes, and it was a blast, right? But it's a starting line, right? I would see all these little things that I noticed in her bio, and I'm able to start a dialogue with that, right? So what did I do? I took some of the information that she had posted there, and then I reached out. Excuse me. I reached out to her, and I said, "Hey, I noticed you know this and this in your profile. I want to know about it. Like talk to me about it." Like it wasn't a typical like, "Hey, what's up?" Like, because that's another thing. If you're looking for a long-term relationship, you gotta actually show that you're putting in any effort, right? But I used the stuff that I saw in her bio as a way to like bring a conversation, right? And so I sent her the message. It was late at night when I did that. I think it was like 10-ish. Somewhere around there. I didn't expect an answer, by the way. Like I said, at this point, I'm trying to meet somebody and see if, and like I said, so she's the second person I ever sent a message to, because I know what I'm looking for, right? And I'm not just gonna throw my net out to anybody. No, I'm looking for specific people that I feel like I can vibe with, right? So I sent her the message, and then I think like I shut down my computer, right? This was my old computer. It was like a small, tiny thing, right? Because no. I think I already had you by the time I met my wife. I'm pretty sure I did. I don't know. The point is, I turned off my computer and then I was getting ready to go to bed. And then all of a sudden my email pings and it's a message from the dating site application. I'm like, oh shit. So then I had to go into the application and I saw that she responded. Okay, what's my first work on yourself, put yourself out there. Yes, I love what she's saying there. So basically, in hindsight, or not in hindsight, that's not the word. What she's saying is always put your, work on yourself and actually put the effort into showing that you actually care about another human being, right? And to not limit yourself. You can always find somebody, whether it's in your social circles, if you, when she says about like your hobbies and there's like fan pages and stuff like that, you can do that, but don't go in with the expectations just because you like the same thing that you're gonna be able to smash immediately. All right, that's not what we're looking for here. We're looking for a long-term relationship. So if the only thing you have in common is the fact that you like this one thing, it's not gonna go anywhere. You have to be able to expand your communication with this other person, right? But what you said at the end is right. You treat them how you would like to be treated, and not just a conquest. Yeah, so that's what she says. Like when you're trying to meet your future partner, right? You want to make yourself actually be yourself. Like you are interested in this person, right? You're not trying to smash. You're not trying to just do a one night hookup and then move on with your life. You're looking for the love of your life, okay? Which is not easy work, right? And you're gonna stumble, okay? It's gonna happen. But to finish what I was saying earlier, you can't just have one thing, right? You have not. Okay, that's a lie. You can have one thing that you both like, and that's like the thing that gets you guys together. But you have to have the ability to expand your own horizons and learn new things with this person, right? You have to both be on the same wavelength to where, like, maybe you have another interest that maybe your partner doesn't really care about or doesn't know about, and then or they have something that they're interested in that you maybe not know about, or you don't like very much. But the thing, you have to be able to show interest in what they're doing. Same thing with them. You have to be able to have an open dialogue with this other person, okay? Because you're two people. You are two different human beings, right? Which means you're gonna have grown up differently, right? So your entire background is gonna be different to this person. Not everybody has gone through the same things in life, right? Which means you don't think the same, but you have to be able to talk to this other person and have an even playing field in terms of, like, I know I don't care too much about about this one thing, but the fact that you like it makes me intrigued. So for example, I'm going to use an anime comparison here, okay? Because it's perfect for this topic, right? And it's an absolute perfect example. My wife watches anime, right? She does watch anime. We watch anime together, right? There's a couple series that we watch together, but there are animes where either she doesn't like it or I don't like it, right? That happens. That can happen because, like I said, your tastes are different. You're two different people. But she used to be a big fan of Attack on Titan. I absolutely despise AOT, right? I literally hate that show from inception. I have never liked the show. If you're coming in and you're hearing this, I'm sorry if you're a big Attack on Titan fan. Never been my thing, right? Never been my cup of tea. I understand that people like it. I don't. I despise the show, right? I despise the series. However, like I said, my wife loves it, right? Or at least she used to love it. I don't think she liked the ending. But, no, I know she didn't like the ending because she told me. But here's the thing. Even though I despise the series, because of the fact that my wife likes it, right? And she used to watch it and all that stuff. And we would just be chatting, and she would tell me, hey, I just watched the most recent episode of Attack on Titan, or I was watching Attack on Titan. And like I said, even though I don't like the show or anything about that series, I would be there actively listening to her tell me about this show that I despise, right? She would go into great details of what happened with the episodes, what happened with the characters. And the thing is, because of the fact that I don't like the show, I don't know any of these things, right? I don't know these characters, right? But when she would tell me about them, if she tells me about the same character again in the future, I have the connection because I was there actively listening to what she was telling me, right? So I'm able to make a connection. I'm like, oh, okay, this guy, and then I would go from there, right? Same thing with me. She doesn't like Pokemon, right? She doesn't like it. She doesn't hate it, right? But it's not something that she likes, right? But then she watches my reviews and she talks to me about them. Or in the games, if I'm doing something in the game, she's always intrigued and trying to learn, right? You have to always be open to the fact that not everything you like, your partner's gonna like. But it's the principle of the fact that you show genuine interest in when your partner is, or in what your partner is, how should I say this? Something that is very big for them, right? Even if you don't like it, right? Seeing them happy should be enough for you, right? And I know that's hard for people because not everybody is grown up, being taught that type of stuff, right? Like I said, me studying people and understanding that everybody likes to be with somebody that cares, right? And when you do that for your partner, they do it for you. It's always a cycle, right? It's always a cycle that you have to work. You're working with your partner to let you both grow together, right? And like I said, sometimes there's gonna be things you disagree on, right? But you already have an open line of communications with each other because you're always actively listening to the other person, right? And that's how you grow, and this is how you build your relationship, right? It's all about finding somebody that you know will never break, will never cross your line, right? You need to be able to be with somebody that does not cross whatever boundary you set for yourself, right? My wife and I have had disagreements in the past with certain things, right? But because we are able to talk with each other, right? It just the communication. I've said this to her plenty of times. I think our biggest strength as a couple is the fact that we're open with each other in anything, right? Our line of communication is like the best thing that we have, and we can solve any problem because we talk to each other. We're always working as a team to solve any issue that arises, right? There's people that put certain restrictions on themselves because they're afraid of offending your partner. Now, granted, you should never do something with the intention of hurting who you're with, right? That you should never, ever, ever, ever have the intention of harming your spouse, your couple, your partner, or anything like that. Will there be times when you say or do something that will rub your partner the wrong way? Yes, same thing with them. Sometimes things will happen and you have to be able to look within yourself and talk with your partner. If you've committed a wrong, you have to be able to acknowledge this and apologize. Same thing with your partner. If you felt wrong by them, let them know. Don't scream it at them, right? Have an open dialogue saying, hey, I did not like when this happened. Talk it through, and then they apologize. But again, you have to always be a team. Always always remember that it's you against whatever problem is out there, right? Nothing can take you down if you work together. So like I said, my wife and I, everything that happens, we deal with it as a team, because as a team, we are stronger in life, right? Anytime anything happens, we always walk with each other together, talk with each other, find the whatever caused the problem and fix it right then and there, right? And it's just like I said, you have to always remember, you're not just you're not always gonna agree, okay? That's impossible because, like I said earlier, you've grown up two different lives. You're two different people with two different mindsets, two different way of seeing the world. You have to be able to see where they're coming from, and they're gonna see where you're coming from. All right, let's see what my wife said here. When you choose a life partner, you're choosing a lot of things, including your parenting partner and someone who will deeply influence your children. Your earring companion for about 20,000 meals. Yep. Oh, I like that. Your travel companion. Yes, that's another thing. Okay, when you are looking for somebody that you have to be able to know that you're going through all these things together, right? You are being with somebody who will be the other parent to your child, right? If you are a person, because there are people that don't want children, right? That's understandable. But if you are somebody that wants to have kids, right, you have to remember that you are going to find somebody who will eventually be your other half in raising your offsprings, right? Raising your children. You can't be with anybody just because, okay? Always know yourself, right? Always know yourself, and learn with this person, okay? You're supposed to grow together. You're supposed to be able to look past any dumb things that happen, right? Any like stupid discussions that you can have. You have to be able to talk it through, and you know, if you have somebody, if honestly, it's better if you both apologize, because honestly, if you get heated in a discussion or an argument, right, those happen. But you have to both be able to acknowledge that something that you did was wrong, and then apologize and move forward, right? That's the other thing. It's one thing that I always preach. First, do not go to sleep angry with your partner, because that builds resentment, and it it festers. If you don't solve the problem, it's gonna be in the back of your mind, and it's gonna fester, and if you leave it there too long, eventually it's gonna blow up, and it's gonna be a big mess when it could have just been easier to deal with it at the time, right? So like I said, there's gonna be small spats, small disagreements. That does not mean that you don't work through them. You have to know what type of person they're going to be in those types of scenarios, so you don't end up feeling stuck with a person that you're incompatible with. Yes, that's also another thing. If you're seeing the relationship isn't going anywhere, then you have to cut it off, okay? And when I say cut it off, I mean like say, hey, you know, because technically speaking, you can break up with anybody for whatever reason, right? Just don't go the cheating route, okay? That's the one rule you should always have. No cheating, because the fact that you're trying to find your soulmate, right? Your partner in life, that means that nobody else should ever attract your attention, right? Which means that if you are not feeling the relationship anymore, don't cheat, just end it. Just say, hey, this isn't working out anymore, and move on, right? For you, that person wasn't your soulmate, because you weren't able to look past whatever was going on at the time, right? My wife and I have grown, like I said, we were dating and living apart, right? Or living far from each other, I should say. That's the correct word. When I met her, she was still like in college, right? And I was already working, and where I was living with my dad, but she was like 2.5 hours away, right? She lived with her parents, 2.5 hours away, right? So we saw each other, and like I said, that's another thing. That's why I say you have to find somebody that you're willing to do, you're willing to put the effort for. So, like I said, she lived 2.5 hours away. We saw each other maybe once a month, if that, right? And there were times where we weren't able to see each other for a while because of circumstances with her family, or they were too busy or stuff like that, so we weren't able to set up anything, right? So, like I said, that could have been a hurdle for other people. If they can't see their partner in a month, right? Because of whatever, that might be your limit. Like I said, that for me, driving the 2 hours whenever we had a chance wasn't a big deal. The fact is that we would be talking every day anyways, right? Whether it was text messages, voice messages, phone calls, whatever, right? So for me, I didn't have a problem with that, right? I went to Evo one year, right? So I was gone for a while, a couple days, right? And we hadn't been able to see each other that month. And then after I came back, we weren't able to see each other, and it took us to the next month to be able to set up a date or whatever. So it's just one of those things where you have to, like I said, because I know myself, because I know what I'm looking for, right? I didn't see that as an inconvenience because there was still open communication with each other. We're always talking with each other, and there was a level of trust, right? Even though we were so far apart and we both were living basically separate lives, right? Because she's doing her studies and I'm over here, working for a living. We both had trust that the other, this was a monogamous relationship, so there was no concern with anything else, right? I still remember I used to help her with some of her coursework, right? When she wouldn't be having an issue. I even helped her make one of her, I think it was it was a project. Like she had to make like a video, and because of my content creation journey, I was able to make it for her, right? So I was able to help her out and do all that stuff, and it was fun, right? So like I said, the fact is that we trusted each other, right? That there has to be a level of trust with your partner. If you don't trust your partner, they're not it, right? That's why I said that's something you have to work on. There's a reason you don't trust them. Did they do something that makes you feel weird? If you're at the stage where you don't trust your partner, you either deal with it at the moment or end it. I don't think you cannot be in a relationship where you don't trust your significant other. Okay? If they are your soulmate, you should have complete and utter trust with them. Okay? When you start doubting, it becomes a problem. Because like I said, that stuff festers in the back of your mind. And it's going to cause friction. And it's going to cause problems. And it's going to cause fights. And we don't want that. Alrighty. So, about that. Wouldn't be a Soresan stream without fucking issues, right? Goddamn fucking computer was fucking dying and shit. It was not being friendly to me. Okay? No? It literally was like, fuck you. And I'm upset. Now I'm angry. Alright, let's see what was the last couple like chat messages here. Let me pop it out again because I had it popped out over here so it's easier for me to read. Okay, so whenever it wants. Okay, so you have another. Okay, no, we saw that one. From the beginning, ask important questions to be clear. Like, hey, I know we're not in that phase yet, but what do you think of this? X and Y? What do you consider cheating? Do you want to get married or just live together, etc.? Better to break up at the beginning than investing all the time on something that's not going to work on the line. Yes, that is a good point. Okay, that is a very, very good point, and I really appreciate that topping point because that's one of the things that we did when we initially started talking. We did like not like a 20 questions, but like we did like a mini Q&A with each other about our interests or where we see ourselves, like what we have, like basically bringing up expectations for what you have in this relationship. Now, this doesn't have to be like the first date type of stuff, right? When you're just starting out, but it is a good idea to try to do this when you're starting out, right? Because, okay, you can go away. Go away. Go away. I don't know what that was. I do recommend you doing it very early on because the problem becomes if you start building this life with this person, right? You in your mind, this is what you want, but you've never had this dialogue with your partner. When you get to the point where it's time to start asking the big questions, and they don't have the same view on where your life is headed that you do, it is soul crushing. And in your mind, you're gonna be like, I wasted all this time for nothing, right? So if you are looking for your soulmate, that means you know that what you're looking for is a really long-term relationship. Like this is something that you want. You want something that in your mind will last, right? Which means that you need to start asking these questions beforehand. Like, right, if whatever you want, right, you need to let it known to whoever you're with, right? I think there might be something weird here. Hold on. I think there's something wrong with the settings because the playback for me is looking choppy as hell, man. Let's try that. I don't know if that's gonna make it look better, but fuck it, we'll try. Hopefully that'll work. But what was I saying? Right, so make your intentions known from the get-go. Okay, you want to make sure that your partner that you're trying to build this life with knows exactly what your intentions are, what you're looking for. What do you want out of this relationship, right? The quality dropping, yeah, that's what I figured. I was like, there's something fucking wrong here. Let me fix some settings here because we don't want that. We don't want it to look all choppy and stuff. Let your intentions know from as early as possible because you do not want to waste your time with somebody who doesn't have the same wavelength as you, right? However, there is a caveat that I want to put that I want to state here, right? There is a small caveat here. Remember what we talked about earlier about boundaries, right? We have things that we want. Oh no, it's doing it again in the preview. We don't. Why are you doing this? Do I have to fix a different setting? Because I can fix different settings if I need to. But video. Maybe that. It looks choppy, right? It looks choppy. I'm trying to see. Do I need to? I don't know if I'm able to fix that setting over here. Unless I'll put. Do I do? Maybe that. Let's see. I don't know if that's gonna work, but fingers crossed. I don't know. I hope it behaves itself because we already went through some fucking problems. For it to keep doing this shenanigans. Right. Okay. Back to what I was saying. The caveat, the small caveat that I wanted to bring up here. We talked about boundaries before, right? And we talked about how there's a specific you build a line that you don't want to cross, right? You don't want anybody to break this line, right? Hold on, what if I do? Because it's doing it again, and I don't want it to do it again. good. Do that, maybe? I swear to God. This stupid, stupid OBS. Goddamn. Okay, listen. Okay, I think we're back. I think everything's back. Alright, so hopefully it will stop interrupting me and we'll actually be able to talk about this shit, right? Trying to get back to where I was in the conversation, okay? First, you have your boundaries, okay? You want to find somebody that you have a game plan of what you're looking for in your relationship for the future, right? That's one of the things. The caveat is, right, the small caveat is because of the fact that you have these boundaries, you got to know where the limit is, right? So, for example, my wife and I, initially, I don't want to say an aversion towards marriage. So I don't have a problem with marriage as a concept and as an existence, right? I think marriage is a beautiful thing. However, because of my background, right, in my family, where there was marriages that crumbled all over the place, right? Like, in my immediate family, there was only 2 that stayed married. Well, I shouldn't say. One of them was my grandparents on my father's side. And the other one is my uncle, who lives here, who lives in Puerto Rico. They're the only ones. My father and my mother, right, they were married, they divorced. And then they each got married again, and they divorced again, right? And now my mother is married again. My father, rest in peace, right? My other uncle on my father's side was married, divorced. Then my mother's 2 brothers, so my 2 uncles on my mom's side, both of them married, divorced, and then now they're married again, right? Well, actually, one of them I think didn't get married to the first person he was with, or I don't recall. Either way, and then my grandmother on my mom's side, I don't know if she was married to my mom's dad or not. I don't know that. That's a question I could ask my mom in the future, but not as of right now. I don't know. All I know is that the grandfather I used to know more closely was my grandmother's second partner, right? Who was my uncle's dad. Because my mom and her 2 brothers have different dads, right? So the point is, I didn't see marriage as something that actually can last. Like, I know it's a good thing, but in my immediate family, I didn't see it as a thing that had a positive outcome, right? So with that in mind, one of the things that we had as a conversation, very on in the beginning, is I wasn't thinking about marriage. I was thinking about a long-term relationship, right? Somebody I could spend the rest of my life with, but I did not have marriage in mind, right? My wife was a little, she saw marriage as what she wanted. However, now there's a difference here. There's a disconnect here, right? But the positive thing is that it wasn't like a deal breaker for the both of us, right? We would be able to like just be together, right? Because we liked each other, right? We wanted to learn more about each other. And over time, as we grew closer together, something funny happened, right? And this is why I said there's always caveats in everything that you do. As we grew closer together, my wife was okay with not getting married, right? In her mind, she said, okay, I just want to be with you. I don't need to be married with somebody, with me, because I just want to be with you, right? And I, on the other hand, actually started seeing marriage as a possibility, right? It was something that I actually envisioned with her, right? So there's always that little nuance that you need to take into account, because as you grow, you can change your mind on certain things, right? There's always going to be a hard stop. Don't get me wrong. There is definitely like a hard stop for you in terms of what you want and what you can't you'll never falter, right? It's like, this is where my last stand. Excuse me, where my last stand is, right? It's the one thing you'll never break, right? But if it's something like that, like I said, if it's something that you aren't really truly like sold on, right? Like I said, it's not that I hated marriage or the idea of being married. It's just that I didn't see it as a good thing in the long term because of what my experience growing up was, right? I don't blame my family for the way I viewed marriage before. Okay, I'm going to say that right now. I don't blame them for anything. But I'm just saying that they colored my viewpoint on marriage in a different way than my wife was raised, right? Because in her mind, she saw marriage as something that is like a final frontier for before, starting a family and stuff like that. So that's something that you can take into account. Like, just because if you don't have like super duper strong feelings about something that you're not willing to die on that hill, then there's always room for growth, and people, like I said, people's minds, and as they grow closer together, some things that they change, right? Which is not a bad thing, right? You're supposed to grow with your partner. You're supposed to, as your relationship, you're with them longer and longer. You're gonna grow together as a couple. There's gonna be things you learn with each other, about each other, right? Because just when you start dating, you're still learning about this person, and even as you grow older together, like we've been together, like I said, close to 7 years at this point. 3 years of marriage coming up in a month, and five days at this point. Technically speaking, it's already the next day because we crossed over the midnight. So now it's Viewer Friday, Saturday edition. What was I saying? Oh, right. We still learn new things about each other. There's always, you're never gonna get a full picture of somebody, but you should be able to know enough about this person that you're looking to build a life with, right? So there's gonna be things that you're not gonna know until you're further along, because maybe it's not something that's constant or common with them. Same thing with you. There's things that you might not like show off, or because it's not something that you're constantly doing, but your partner will learn about them as you grow closer together, and you start when you start living together, right? That's also a big step, right? Because then when you're dating initially, right, you're living in two separate worlds, right? When you get to the point where you start living together, then you start learning new things about them, their habits, the way they live, right? And that's another thing. You should never jump into moving in together like immediately, okay? Like I said, you're supposed to learn about this other person to see if there's somebody that you can see yourself investing your life with, right? So if you just met this person, don't go, hey, let's move in together tomorrow, right? Never do that, because you don't have time to develop a rapport with them, right? Don't start going for the fences as soon as you just started. Are there some people that are like, hey, I'm running out of time? Yes, but that doesn't mean you need to risk your happiness and finding your soulmate if you're just charging ahead to everything, right? You want to make sure that you know this person, that you feel comfortable with this person, that you feel like you're ready to make this commitment. Like I said, my wife and I, we were together for 2 years before, well, hold on, no, 3 years before we moved in together, right? We were dating apart for 2.5 years, technically speaking, 2.5 years before we moved in together, right? And then we were together for a year before we got married, and then we've been married for 3 years now, right? Or we're gonna hit the 3-year mark in a month and 5 days, right? So it's a long time, right? and you should always take the time to learn about the other person before you start jumping into like the next stage of a relationship. You should never like be skipping steps. Okay, this is all. It's always a work in progress. Okay, when you're in a relationship, not everything is gonna be sunshine and rainbows the whole time. Okay, there's always gonna be something new. That something's gonna happen. Something's gonna test you, right? You have to be able to constantly grow and learn and work with your partner, because this is a long time. If you are looking for your soulmate, this is a lifelong commitment. You have to be ready to put in the work every single day, because life sucks. Okay, we all know this. Life sucks unless you are born rich, right? And everything is handed to you on a silver platter. You're still miserable because you don't have that sense of life with you, because everything is handed to you. No matter who you are, life sucks in some way, shape, or form. Does it suck worse for other people, or for some people more than others? Yes. Do some people suffer more? Yes. But the fact of the matter is, everybody's life sucks in some way, shape, or form, which means you have to be with somebody that makes it worth going to the threat to trudge through life until the end, right? You have to find that person that you are like, this is what makes life worth going for, right? This is what makes all the trials and tribulations that life throws at you matter, right? I have been having a really rough time this year at work because there's a lot of things that are going on. It is a struggle, right? On top of the fact that my mentor, the one that I've been working with for the past couple of years, is already talking about retirement, which means all the stuff that we do together is going to fall on me, right? And there's a lot of stuff that's been happening this year, a lot of big projects that I have been involved with and doing a majority of the stuff, and there's always problems, right? It's a fucking stressful time for me. And the only reason why I'm able to like wake up every morning is because I have my wife right there, my beautiful wife right there every day, every morning, always giving me that ray of light saying, hey, you have somebody next to you that makes all of this worth it. Okay? You do not want to be with somebody that doesn't lift the burden off your shoulder. If you're with somebody and they, like, you're already having a miserable time and they just pile on more, that's not worth it. It's not worth it for you. It's not worth it for them, right? That's why I said you got to be very, very careful who you trust your life to, okay? You can't just go with whatever or whoever. You have to find somebody that gives you that release from the stresses of life, okay? Like I said, that's what I found with my wife. My wife gives me the strength to go on, with all the bullshit I got to deal with on a daily basis. And I do the same for her. Anytime something happens with her, some struggle that she has, I'm always there for her to make sure that she's not going through anything alone, right? You have to be a team. You're a team against the world, against life, against the struggles, against the stresses of everything. And then if you are a person that wants kids and your partner also wants children, that's where the next big hurdle comes in, right? That's because now it's not just you two, right? It's not just you two against the world. Now it's you two protecting a carbon copy of both of you from the world and giving them the guidance to go out there and make a difference, right? So it has to be somebody that you trust to create another human being with. Okay? That's one of the problems of people nowadays. All these baby mamas and baby daddies and all these fucking broken marriages and relationships where the kids are miserable or they're separated and there's all these fucking problems with court and all that shit. You don't want to have a child with somebody that you don't feel is going to make a great partner for you and for your future children, okay? So always be cautious with who you're making babies with, okay? If you don't feel like you trust this person to bear a child with you, right, and that you want to be with them, don't risk it. There's plenty of contraceptions out there in the world, okay? So if you're not looking for your soulmate and you just want to fuck around with somebody, make sure you take care of it so that you're not stuck with this person for the rest of your, well, most people say for the rest of their lives. Other people say, oh, till they're 18 or till they're adults or whatever. The point is, you're going to be tied to somebody that you don't want to be with. So don't just go willy-nilly with whatever. Okay, I definitely just shook my desk by accident, so the camera was like shaking like crazy. I saw it in the preview. It takes work. Okay, that's the main thing I want people to take from this stream is it takes work to be in a relationship for a long time, because a lifetime is a lot of years. Okay, it's a lot of years and it's a lot of work, and I'm telling you all, life will test you. It will test you. It will test your partner. It will test your relationship, because nothing is easy in this world. So you have to find somebody that makes the struggle and all that worth it. Okay, don't be with someone playing games. Don't you be playing games. If you don't feel like this is a worthwhile investment for you, a worthwhile time, don't do it. Don't stay with somebody just because. Okay, and don't just swipe. Don't just swipe left. Okay, don't just go with whoever. Like, actually vet who you're talking to. And remember, as soon as you find them, that's when the work begins. If there are somebody that you actually see yourself, and there's that connection, that spark, there's that spark between the two of you, and you both know what you want, and it works and it matches, hold on to it, fight for it, and always grow together. Okay, like I said, there's gonna be struggles, there's gonna be pain, there's gonna be suffering, because, well, not between yourselves, right? That's not, we don't want that. We don't want you guys suffering with each other, right? But life itself is gonna beat you down, right? Especially if you're with someone that you want to be with for the rest of your life. When you find your soulmate, life will find a way. Life will try to find a way, but you can't let it. You can't let it. This is who you want to be. They want to be with you. This is for the long haul. You gotta fight. Okay? Because the good days always, and I mean always, outweigh the bad. Because there's never a bad day that is worth losing that one person that makes your life worth it. Okay? So I hope that despite the struggles that we had today, right? Despite all the problems that we had today, that this stream is worth it, that you're able to enjoy it, that you're able to talk it through, that it brings you some wisdom, right? I'm still young. My wife is still young, so obviously you're gonna be like, you don't know shit. But listen, it's the fact that we're this young and we're able to work like this says a lot. Okay, we know what we're talking about. At least I like to think so, right? I like to think so. So I hope that what I've said today has given you guys some insight, has given you guys hope, right? I would really appreciate that, or I really hope that it gives you guys, that helps you guys to not give up, right? I hope it gives you guys the strength to go out and look for your other person. Your other, or no, I'm not going to say it like that. I'm going to say it the way I always like to say it. That you're going to find your better half. Okay? Because that's what I call my wife. My wife is my better half, and she says I'm her better half, right? We are each other's better half, so we make a whole together. I think you're gonna. I'm gonna wait for her. I think she's typing something. She's gonna type something big, so I'm gonna give her time to say it, and then I guess I'll leave it open if anybody wants to say anything. If not, we're gonna end the stream there, and we will hopefully have a good rest of the night, because it's 1 o'clock in the morning and we gotta go to bed. I can't wait to go and snuggle up. Oh, you want me to do okay. Closing argument. I thought you were gonna type something, so I was like, oh, okay, I'll let you go. So, in conclusion, for you all coming in or leaving or whatever, or you watching the end of the stream or the playback, whatever, like, work on yourself. And when I say that, I mean actually learn about yourself. Know what you want. Know what you would like. What your boundaries are. What you expect from a relationship. 2, wherever you go to find your partner, whether it's at work, whether it's through your friends, through your families, right? People that know around, right? Whether it's on dating apps, whether it's at the bar, wherever you go and you're trying to meet this person. Vet. Always vet, because you do not want to just go with whoever, right? You want to learn from them. You want to set your expectations, set your boundaries before anything happens. 3, once you found this person that you feel like you can build a life with, right? Learn with them, right? Learn about each other. Take it slow, right? Take it slow. Learn about each other. All communicate. Have open communication, open dialogues. Set your expectations of where you see the relationship going. Decide at that point if it matches, if you think that this is worth it, right? Move forward. If not, and you don't think that you guys are going to be able to like work together to reach a common goal, get this lifelong relationship going, break it off. Okay, try again, because they're not it, right? If you just and then start over again, right? Well, you don't have to work yourself again because you already know, right? You already built your boundaries, you already set up, so just continue on with the other ones. If this person is the one that you feel like is worth fighting for, right? It's the one that you feel like is worth building a life with, right? Grow the relationship. Grow together. Work with each other. Work on each other, right? Open dialogue, open communication, always being there for each other, right? And then build your relationship and fight for it. Yes, there is someone always there for you. Like and she spends there. And when you least expect it, I found her on accident, right? This was like out of the blue, completely out of the blue, right? I like that one. But that you do that, okay? That's why I said when you build your boundaries, if you have your hobbies and the things that you like, keep them. Okay, do not lose yourself in a relationship. You should always be able to still be you, even in a relationship. That's why I said when you work on yourself and you set your boundaries and your expectations, you know who you are. Never lose who you are. If you feel yourself losing who you are when you're with a person, they're not for you. Okay, they are trying to drag you down and they're trying to take away who you are. Never let that happen. Moving on. Remember that since this is a lifelong commitment, right? They are your soulmate. It's gonna take work. Every day is gonna take work. Relationships that are meant for a long haul are never easy because like I said, life will find a way to break you down. So always fight for each other. Always act as a team, right? Because it's you against everything else. It's you against the world, right? And continue to grow continue to learn from each other. Like I said, you're not gonna know everything about the other person immediately, right? This is something that's gonna be built over the years, which means you're gonna be constantly learning new things, especially when you're in the phase where you're moving in together, right? Always continue to grow alongside each other. There is somebody that's trying to get involved, someone trying to get in the way, cut it off immediately. You do not want toxic mindsets around you and your relationship. You always want to be like, I'm not going to say like don't surround yourself with yes men. I'm saying don't surround yourself with people that don't believe in what you have, that do not trust it, they don't like it, and they try to do everything in their power to break it off. So distance yourself from them. No matter how long you've known them, bye-bye. And always remember to love each other, okay? Always remember to love each other. Don't tell me it died. I swear to God. If this fucking thing did it again, I swear. Oh, yep. Now I'm getting the what? Oh, we're not receiving enough. Whatever the fuck. Bitch ass YouTube streaming shit. I hate this crap. It's so dumb. Anyways, what I was saying at the end before apparently had issues. Always love each other. Okay, love should never be missing when you're together. You should always love each other. Okay, that's at the end of the day the most important thing. Everything else is important, but the most important is you should never ever stop loving each other. But I think that's where we're gonna end it off. I will give you guys a minute if you want to make your statements in the chat. For a moment, I don't know why this stupid thing it likes to troll me, man. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, I'm gonna give you guys a minute to talk. In the chat, if there's anything you guys want to bring up, if there's anything you guys want to add to what I said, obviously, like I said, I'm not an expert in life, but I know what I'm an expert in my relationship and my love with my wife, you know. So if anybody wants to add something, feel free to do so. And if you're watching in the playback, feel free to let me know in the comments things that you would add to the topic, the discussion, right? And like I said, this is for long-term commitment relationships. Okay, we're not talking about like short-term dating and nothing like that. You are looking for your forever partner, your soulmate, you know. So, yeah, I think that's it. The Insane Game Freak. I don't know if you watch this stream. I don't know if you watched the stream, right, live, or if you watched the playback. Either way, I hope this was helpful for you because you're the one that requested it. So you get the honorary like ending right now, right? So I hope that this was useful. I hope that this is what you were looking for, right? I do apologize for the hiccups. Okay, my streaming setup isn't the greatest. I'm not gonna lie. But I hope that you were able to gain something from what I brought, right? I hope that this does help you. You know that I am still your biggest fan. Well, I shouldn't say that. I consider myself my biggest fan. But I hope that you know that I'm a big fan of yours and that I'm always rooting for you. I was going to be watching your content, all that stuff. And I know you can do it, okay? I know you can make it. And everybody else, okay? I'm going to add this to everybody. You can all find your other person, okay? Everybody has the ability to find their other person. But since you requested it, I'm saying it specifically to you too, directly. I know you can find the one for you. I'm rooting for you. I wish you the best. Always here if you need anything. And think that's it. If again, if anybody else has any topics that they would like to see covered on the channel, whether it's a stream or if you prefer it as a stream, feel free to let me know that when you request it. Viewer Fridays are always available, which means that if you request something for me, I will either make it into a video, or if you prefer it as a stream, we'll make it as a stream, right? But I think that's gonna be it. We made it to the end portion of the streams that we always do. Talk about future content on the channel. Although I don't know if this is appropriate for this one. I don't know. I'm not gonna do the usual like outro for everything, but I do want to request that if you did stop by the stream, that you do watch the latest video that came out earlier. Well, at this point it was last night. I wasn't earlier today, but technically this weekend it was yesterday. We are slowly but surely catching up with Pokemon Horizon, so I would really appreciate you guys heading over there and watching the video. But for now, that's gonna be it from your boy, SoresanCrockxen. I really appreciate everybody that showed up. I did see we peaked at like, I think 7 or 8 viewers, something like that. One of those two. I don't know. Hey, the emotes or the emojis. Thank you so much. But we're gonna leave it off there. Really appreciate everybody that showed up. Hopefully we can do more vlog style streams in the future. We're looking forward to those. Those are always fun. And I think we're gonna leave it off there. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate everybody that stopped by. And I look forward to seeing you guys in future streams, you know. But for now, this is SoresanCrockxen signing out. I will see you guys in future videos, streams, shorts, and everything else in between. Adios. Good night, everybody. All you rest up. If you're seeing the playback, good morning, good afternoon, whatever. But I hope you all have a good night. See ya.